Welcome, Leah. Um,
Thank you, Lindsay.
yeah, Leah and I go back like not too long ago, but I met Leah through Primordial Yoga and I did your teacher training. She is everything. She is a mom, she's a wife, she's an entrepreneur, she's a survivor, she's a goddess, she's a force. And if you have ever taken one of her classes, then you know. She's a powerhouse and like your energy is just like contagious. And I think that's what I just gravitated towards you because you are so different than all the other yoga teachers, I guess. And I love that about you. You weren't afraid to like break out of like this alignment, which the movement was like kind of like moving towards. I'm so excited to talk to you about like because you've even seen yoga before I got into the game. Like for me, it was like fun, and then it started to move towards like this really strict alignment, and then I came to alignment like like strict pose, and then I came to your class, and it was like freedom, and like that kind of like set me free in my own way and to find my own way of teaching as well. Like I don't teach exactly primordial, but like I do feel like I don't focus I have the freedom to like the post doesn't have to look perfect and like my own way of teaching and my own values that come from yoga, which is really more of like a rooted grounded practice. I don't know why it got so far away from that, it really did. So if you want to introduce, like, if you want to just talk about like yourself, kind of take us back to like, I know that what you were doing like before you got into yoga and all that
Yeah,
stuff. You want to
absolutely.
introduce yourself too?
Sure. Thank you, Lindsay. I loved your yoga studio. I thought it was just so awesome. And I love the location, like very central. I felt like it was like really accessible from different areas. But
Yeah.
so that's amazing because I saw your progression from before the studio. I think that's right when we met, like right
Uh-huh.
before you opened it to opening it. And that's so exciting. That's like my favorite energy. And it's just so cool. So anyway, thank you for having me. Yes, I am Leah. And yeah, I think like there's some egoic ways that I would describe myself, like I love being a mother, I love being a wife, but I also have my own identity of and mainly it's rooted in the movement practice. And then recently I've sort of shifted into more of like the mindset type stuff because um I actually have just completed a board certification to become a holistic health advisor. So it's the National Board of Health and Wellness Coaches teaming up with the National Board of Medical Examiners and sort of combining to create this like gold standard of what it is to advise people who are in, health crisis recovery or grief processing. And that's really what my background was. So what you're referencing is like my life before I actually broke away from like more of these artificial matrices and became a yoga studio owner, which is a matrix in and of itself. You're still paying, right? You're still doing things. But yeah, it did allow so much more freedom as far as being able to raise my kids, having time, things like that. So I was in corporate as a headhunter and essentially was like doing recruitment. So it was like an HR function, but it combined sales as well as like understanding people. So like psychology principles. And then I got really ill with stage 4 cancer. Well, I lost a child. And I think that that was the precursor where I went through a grieving process, but didn't actually acknowledge any of it. I was like, nope, we're just going to keep going. We're going to power through because that's really like the Midwest roots. I think you would resonate with this of like, we just grind. In the Midwest, it's all about clockwork. Like, and some of the things you're talking about are rooted very much in the environment. It's like to be aligned is to have a structure, and to have a structure is to have safety and protection. And that's what I love about Michigan is the trees. I think the land is super protected. I love the water around. And so I will always love home. That's why I sip out of my cup. But then, I think also there were things that were in the environment. It's environmental, and then it's also our food. and many different things outside, but really for the cancer experience for me was going inward and really looking at the ways in which the cells were working on a cellular level, the ways that I was dictating or lack of dictation. It wasn't like that I had too much going on. It was that I was under attacking. I wasn't on the offense. I wasn't being proactive with my health. I was just sort of willy-nilly with it, eating whatever. And I think like in your 20s, you do that. You know what I mean? And then you gain
How
this.
old were you?
I was like 29 when I was diagnosed, and I was working in like a plastics environment. It was a company that made plastics. So
Yeah.
yeah, like breathing in heavy.
Now we know, right? We didn't know, but we didn't know. We didn't that
Right.
honestly, like I feel like our generation in the 20s was like we kind of got screwed. Like we know deep down that things, but like the society, yeah, wasn't ready for like to hear like, hey, this food's not good, or like, not, our medicated like type of healthcare, all these things. That's
Mhm.
like what we had. And it God forbid, like if you spoke out, like man, you were like, canceled
Outcasted.
pretty
Yeah.
much.
And I think, yeah, what a great point because our generation has seen so much. Like, talk about neuroplasticity is like, yeah. And because my kids are, I feel like I'm still 17, first of all. So my son, who is 15 going on 25, it's like, we are like the same age sometimes, but I'm his mother and I've lived through so much more.
Yes,
We used to go outside. We didn't have cell phones. Like we literally would have to use a quarter to try to call our parents, and they would call our friends' parents to see where the hell we were or what we were
I
doing.
know.
And it's wild if you really think about it.
It is.
And so yeah,
We've
like
seen a
that.
lot.
Yes. And like, yeah, a lot of information was suppressed. So in 2013, when I was diagnosed, there wasn't a lot of holistic things out there. It was unheard of to drink green juice to try to heal yourself without going to chemotherapy. So I actually did a combination of both. And I'm not someone that's like, oh, I don't think that the Western ways work. I do think that the mentality of the bigger picture is for another agenda other than our health. But with that knowledge, I think that people are becoming more empowered. Like I've seen it in the last year of a huge shift in the way that we look at things as far as health. And
Yeah.
with that shift, you'll see the shift in yoga because there will be, other forms that create itself just due to the need to be able to accommodate the changes that are going on in other areas. And it's just like how our body works. And so going through the cancer experience was actually the best thing that could have happened to me because I think I would have probably still been working in that job because I had the matrix programming of that is safe, that is secure. You have to have a 401k or you're not gonna like make it in life. And
Yeah.
then we saw right after that in like that time frame, I think it was
Mhm.
like 2007 to 2014 really, of people's 401ks just being wiped out. I
Mhm.
remember my parents telling me that. And I'm
Mhm.
like, so I had a serious, it wasn't necessarily actions that I took, it was my identity that I looked at. And I was like, what the heck, what are these inner gremlins that are going on in my mind? Because they're not actually telling me anything. I'm telling myself, like, I've got to stay in this job. I've got kids now. I've
Right.
really provide. And, Michigan, we like to be rooted. So I had a house, this job got me that house. I had land and other things. And it was just like this idea of attachment. And so yoga really helped me to just be a little bit more, I think maybe detached from that and seeing the reality of what really is, which is that all of this is malleable. Like everything is changing as we're talking.
Yeah, like you are the creator. And like when you realize that, it's like a total mindset shift. Like I didn't realize I was creating this. And it can be like painful, and like the realization is like can be um I think just overwhelming possibly, but like it's so powerful and it's so empowering, and like so beautiful at the same time. So,
It
uh,
is beautiful, but yeah, to your point, it's very difficult. There was points
yeah.
in entrepreneurial journey because like basically what I did was don't do it this way. This is not a prescription of what to do. But I basically like took my form. I went on a leave because I was really sick. I got better within 3 months because I had that huge identity shift. I think people would consider it like a Kundalini awakening, or like I actually didn't do it through yoga. It was through a shaman who sort of went in and then like excavated spiritually what the illness was and presented it to me. And then I made that choice to basically shift out of it. And I consider that quantum healing. And I didn't believe in any of that shit before. I grew up very Christian, very rooted in I was always spiritual, but like I really followed the
But
religion.
what made you see a shaman? Were you already, like, involved in a studio? Like, you already had, like, a mentor or anything at that point?
No, I lived like near Brighton, Michigan. And so the studio was actually in Brighton, Michigan. And I literally just was like, I can't go to Peru or the Philippines right now because I've got this treatment plan and I had a 4-year-old and I actually just had a baby. So I had a newborn. So what is around Michigan where I don't have to drive like an hour to learn to do some yoga where I'm not going to be seen? I wanted grandma yoga. I wanted like the back of the room, didn't want to be seen. I lost all my hair. I
Oh,
was like really masculine looking. Like I wasn't the feminine embodiment quite yet, because you had to masculine your way through these treatments. They completely wipe out your body.
yeah.
So this woman is like the ultimate embodiment of like masculine. You could see her muscles. She was like a weightlifter. She lifted weights, and she was also like the softest yogi. Her name's Stacy, and she ended up moving to Arizona like right after my training. But she's also a shaman. Like she learned all of this other stuff that was new to me. So ancient Chinese medicine, she taught me about shamanism and what it meant. And then like it didn't resonate with me. That's the thing, is that like some of the things that were going on, I was like, I mean, it seems cool. They have like a rattle and some other people felt other things and they're sharing in this circle. And I'm sitting there like in my logical mind being like, well, I think that they're just trying to cope with fear. That's literally what I told myself in these circles. Then literally like 2 weeks later, it was like waterworks out of nowhere, like after a chemotherapy session. And originally I'm like, well, it's the cortisol from, you try to logic your way through it. But then like I went into my closet and just threw away all of these clothes that I had when I was pregnant. And I shedded like so much shit. Like I don't even know. I just like emptied my house. And she was like, oh yeah, that's a huge part of the process. Like it doesn't go linearly. She's like, your house is a representation of your body, and like you're gonna start shedding your identity next. Like she knew what was going on and kind of like was affirming and guiding me through it, because I'm like, what's going on? Like, what did you do? What happened? But it was like it all started sort of in this unseen realm that I wasn't really in touch with. I think I thought I was in touch with it because I went there and I was doing the things, but I didn't consciously know what was going on.
Yeah.
And then everything kind of followed from that. Took my 401k money, opened up that studio on 25 grand. I mean, like the bar was so like low at that time because like it was 2013. Got a like it was a C commercial property, meaning like the land was sinking. It was like on a delta. And like, like it wasn't the best location, but it was a good location. Like as far as where it was located, it was super busy. It's where I grew up. I know the people, I knew the town. So yeah, and I knew it was gonna be different. And
Yeah.
I kind of led with that sort of what you were talking about of like in this identity shift, I embraced what was unique about me instead of suppressing it, which is what I
Mm.
think she told me ultimately the cancer was. I didn't believe that until I lived it.
Mhm.
And then it was like, okay, yeah, actually, I am the magic. And then, but I didn't actually even fully embody that until like after I got rid of the studios and during COVID.
Mm. Really?
Yeah, like during the psychological ups and downs of being in that studio and having some months where it's like, oh, I'm making 30, 40 grand. This is easy stuff. Like, what a dream, to making negative money. It's like, you know what I mean? I was just like, you have to be able to fail and not give up. I think that's the secret that all people need to really realize is that failure is not a sign that you're not successful.
Right. Yeah, it's just like kind of like the way it works. Like there's ups and downs. And it's like kind of like just life too. Like you're in a down time, like it will change or like this is a time to reassess or um try something different as well.
Really.
Yeah.
You get
Well,
more resilient, you get smarter, you get stronger. But I didn't see it like that at the time. In the moment, it's like, oh my God, like I'm a failure. Like, look at all these. A lot of it was external. Like I was looking at the external and believing that that was real. And I
yeah,
think the shift happened when I was like, when you go really inward and exactly what you're talking about, really excavating the inner resources to be able to weather that. And like sometimes it doesn't look like profit.
yeah,
Sometimes it looks like, and those are the blueprints. It's like, what business has been profitable all the time?
right.
I don't even think Amazon, like some of these.
Right, like, that's the stuff you don't realize is, I've never taken, like, a business class or, like, I don't have friends really that are, like, entrepreneurs or, like, who have been in the game for a long time that I can even, like, pull from. There's a couple, but, like, yeah, like, for me, if you're just kinda, like, stepping into it, it yeah, you don't realize that stuff that, like, what kind of profit should I be making? Like, I don't know. I just, like, kinda wing it, which is probably probably not
Same.
the best. I'm not I always say that I'm not, like, the best in the business owner, but whatever. Like, it's my energy that
Your
I
energy.
trust in.
And you believe in yourself and you have
Yeah.
great energy. Like I remember your demo like it was yesterday. You're very strong. And I feel like when you trust that, that's what you need in life as a woman.
I
I think
know.
like men are so good at it because they almost have like a blind confidence.
Yeah.
Literally, you know that word cocky. It
Yeah.
comes rooted in something because they're meant to insert themselves into the world. Whereas as women, we are receivers. We receive literally, we're the void, we're the creators, we're the portal.
Yeah. Yeah, that's something that I've been working on is like I have a healer that was working with recently and she was like saying you need to like receive love. Do you feel like that's an issue? I was like, I don't. But then like as like the month went on, I was like, whoa, like I'm not receiving like yeah, I receive my partner's love, but I receive no one else's. Like I don't receive the environment. I give and I love, but I'm not receiving like everyone else. And I was like, "Whoa, this is like on a different level." Like yeah, it kind of changed my whole outlook on like even religion and stuff. I've had some crazy awakenings. This past year has been crazy.
It has, hasn't it? It's been a decade.
It's
That's
bad,
so
yeah.
interesting that you realized about the receiving piece. I feel
Yeah,
like that's what increases your ability to be able to give.
to connect to, like, the unseen, like you were saying, because um, yeah, it's all in the lower chakras,
Mhm.
and I think you're probably naturally, like, reside down there,
Mhm.
I feel that from you. You're very, like embodied, like feminine, you have like this I think your lower chakras are really like activated. So for me, I think that's why I was drawn to you is to like learn that. And man, it's been like what 5 years and I'm still I'm just now starting to like kind of click with like how I am going to receive.
Mm.
Yeah.
Do you live like up here?
Yeah, I think so, and I think I live in my heart, but, like, yeah, I think when it comes to, like, the solar plexus down, it's probably a little bit less activated, but yeah, mostly up. I think most people do live that I'm seeing now is, like, all up here for sure.
Yeah.
I think, but yeah, anyways, how, what were some of the things that, like, you learned as a studio owner, and, like, what were some of the challenges and
So one of the major things I learned is that I need to have we as the studio owner, the facilitator of all of the facets, need to have very strong boundaries. and that it's not selfish to have boundaries because that's what's going to allow you to be able to contain yourself and give. I was just super porous, kind of
Yeah.
taking, I wanted to give so much like what you're talking about. And I did, like, I infused everything with that passion and that love, but I didn't have enough boundary. I was allowing other, I kind of was feeling out the community and wanted to, then I became reactionary toward what the community wanted instead of commanding my energy.
Yeah, I feel, yeah, I know that. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think it all starts with identity, which was really strong, but then reinforcing it over and over and over and over again, and then really trusting in your own energy instead of becoming reactionary to what's going on outside. And that all was because I was like in this fear mode of like, well, if I don't make the profit, how am I going to sustain? So I have
Right.
to keep them happy. The customer's always right. And it was this balance of, well, but I'm like, my one of my coaches at the time I was really influenced by, she was called herself like an industry disruptor. And she very much still is. She's like incredible. But she like is the one who sort of ushered in the movement of primordial. She really has been an instrumental part in that time in my life to be able to represent what it means to be a leader when you're shifting consciousness, innovation as opposed to just sort of falling in line for
Mhm. That
whatever,
sounds amazing. Yeah.
yeah, for like whatever agenda it was. It is amazing. And I think like then it became attaching to a teacher. So it was another form of attachment that came up that, and I think like this is what, I don't think any of these are flaws. I think they're all blueprints for us to be able to keep growing and to keep becoming who we are. Like
Yeah.
it's really about the becoming. And then eventually like we kind of shed that relationship because it was so big at the time. That's what was driving the profit. And it's the essence of primordial yoga, the things that you're talking about, the spiral. um you know I am not the original proprietor of that. I don't actually even think anybody really is.
No, yeah.
I think it's like an ancient sacred geometry that
Mhm.
is all of ours to own and
Mhm.
to really be. So what she had was the same thing that my teacher before had, which was a fusion of this masculine energy with the feminine energy and a true marrying of the two. And just, I think maybe a futuristic, like a psychic knowledge of the
Mhm.
times that we were in and what was needed at that time. I think now it's not so needed. Well, maybe I switched environments and it's just a little bit different here.
Mhm.
It seems like we now have to help the masculine embodied people find
Mhm.
healing because at that barefoot festival, it was mainly men in the audience at the last one I did, which was like a couple of years
Mm.
ago now.
That is so interesting.
It was.
Yeah, I just led I've been really into like a support group type environment, just like having the space for that for other people to join in and talk and express. And it was all men. I had one lady come. It was like five
I
men.
love
I was
that.
like, I had no idea I'd be leading a men's group. Like, I was trying to get one of my male teachers to do it, and he just, like it's hard when like I don't want to make someone do it who's not into it, but like if you're not like feeling inspired, then don't do it. So I did it, and I'm like, oh my God, like, because I wanted him to do something geared towards men, but because I didn't think I was the right person. But then here I am, all these men are gravitated.
You
It
have
was
a really
interesting.
strong crown, like really
Yeah.
there's a light around your crown right now. And I think men have that naturally too. So they're going to gravitate toward that, especially because you live in your heart.
Yeah.
They have a harder time with with that sometimes.
Right. Right. I see that. A lot of people do tell me that too about the crown chakra.
Yeah.
So,
I feel that. It's it's all about belief, you know what I mean? It's like that you believe in yourself. I think that that's so powerful.
yeah, well, I kind of just go with things too, for sure. And I think you have that energy too. Like you kind of let spirit, I guess, guide you. Do you feel?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely. It's almost like it is a spiritual war, but then everything in the matrix, and I know yogis are very peaceful. We only fight if we're provoked, but the attack is psychological. It's very psychological, and it's inner gremlins that try to tell you that you're not the person to teach these people. It's not you. It's got to be, and I think like sometimes delegation is necessary for certain things, but if they're
Mhm.
asking you, it's a calling. That's not a job. That's a spiritual calling, and
Right.
I'm led in that way. But I think what I'm working on right now in this time and day is like I need to be more masculine. Like that masculine king energy is like really important. If you're like two in your lower chakras and just kind of flowing, you can become a hot
Yeah.
mess.
Yeah, you're right. Like it's totally like a balance for sure. And there's no right. Like I think right now there's like a lot of um on Instagram, a lot of like push towards feminine energy to to soften and stuff, which I kind of feel like I already am. So it's like I don't it doesn't resonate with me, but like for me it's like a balance and I like definitely feel balance on both sides. And but I do feel like there's like a movement right now towards like feminine and
Yeah, because there's a lot of women who have had to, I talk to, so a lot of what I do during the day is coach women one-on-one.
mm,
And so I went from going into a bigger group setting, which is so healing, and I think I really needed that at the time,
yeah,
to doing more one-on-one intimate. And then I do that like en masse over and over again. And what I hear from so many, I've talked to primarily women, is that they've had to masculine their way through. The
yeah,
age group that I'm talking with is a little bit older too. So it's like, us who are above 35, a lot of us have had to, if we're single moms or didn't come from like a privileged background where you had a silver spoon and stuff like that. They've had to
right,
apply themselves all the time. And there wasn't any of that chance to soften. And I think
yeah,
like one of the things that I do want people to recognize about me, although I am very independent, my last name is Slag and White. I am a wife to someone, and he is a very strong, he's super strong. He's just not on Instagram or anything like that.
yeah,
He is like a construction guy. He's like just really divine masculine strong, and so I had that energy to support me during like the loss of a child and having cancer, and then even now. And I think that that's a piece of the puzzle that makes me who I am. It's
yeah,
not something that's like that I take for granted, and also I'm not doing this by myself.
right,
A lot of women who have had to self sort of masculine, and I think that's where the strength
yeah.
comes from.
Yeah, yeah, totally. Because I don't have kids, so it's like I never had to do that, and like I can imagine though, like the thought of having to work, because I for us growing up, Kai grew up in the same era as you, I think,
80s. I was born in
80s,
83.
yeah, same, 83. Um,
You look really young though. I thought you were like I thought that you're a millennial. We're not millennials. We are
no,
Gen X.
no, and but I think it's because I just I know I didn't really grow up like everyone else. So but yeah, I for us it was grilled in us to like work. Like you couldn't stay home as a mom, even if you were married. Like it was like you had to go to school. At least in my community, like you had to go to school. And in my family, it you didn't have a choice. And
Yeah.
like you had to work and it had to be centered around money and you had to make a certain amount of money or you had to choose a career that you were going to be successful in financially. And then you have to get married, had kids. Like so that was like our culture. And but I didn't do that. I just worked. So I did have I think a lot more freedom and I didn't have like I see it. I see like a lot of our friends, gosh, all the sports they have to like the pressure to like work, make money, and then put your kids in sports, every sport possible for them, and then on the weekends, like every single holiday event, they see Santa like 5 times. Like it's like
That's hilarious. Yeah, that's so real. That's a
Yeah.
couple of things that my husband and I didn't do. Well, first of all, we are very like we let our children lead. So and they're artists. So that's awesome that I mean, artist stuff is expensive too, though. We buy the paints, the acrylics, fabrics, but they're very resourceful. Like my son just creates stuff out of our garbage. Like literally, like he took these boxes and made like a Gothic cathedral in his room. Like they have their own
Wow.
personalities. And so I think like that's one of the way that I love being a mother is that we broke out of that program. I think
You
our
did.
generation, we were able to break out of the programming.
You did. And I think for me, I was always scared of that. Like, I'm like, I don't want to do that. And so I just never chose to really, I didn't really know I had another option, to break out like you did. Or like, I see like this movement towards like, like more homesteading. And I'm like, man, where was that 20 years ago? Like, I didn't know that was an option. But
Yeah, because these messages are sort of dictated based upon like profits,
yeah, I know.
fake
They want
money,
you
you know?
working. They want us working.
Yeah, and now the tariffs and everything, so they're like, well, you've got Uncle Sam says to garden, so you need to garden. And I actually did try that, but the energy here in Florida is a lot different. Michigan is so abundant. Like it was so
Yeah.
easy. We had a cannabis farm in our backyard. We had a huge like tomato thing with pepper. A bunch of stuff started growing in there that I didn't even plant, but
Yeah, that's
it was
cool.
like pumpkins. Yeah, and it was more of that style. And I do miss it. It's just really cold. That's my
It is really cool.
it's really cold.
But I mean, I think what you're doing and the way that you parent, I think that just makes it easier on yourself. It's like, why make it so hard, where I have to like do all these things? Like, if by letting your child lead, it's like you can take a lot of that pressure off yourself and like let that freedom be there, right? Like, that's so beautiful.
Like how many hours did your parents be like, you have to do math? Like I was never good at math. They were just like, you have to do math, you have to pass this test. If you don't
Yeah,
pass this test, you're not going to get into college. So my focus was like calculus, like doing this calculus. And it's like, I don't think I've ever used calculus once.
never.
Never came in helpful. I think like what I would have loved to learn is like how to do a P&L sheet, for example, or like what the fuck the things mean on a mortgage or what credit card interest is.
Yeah,
Like all
yeah,
of that
I
would
hear
have been
you.
so helpful, but it's not like taught in the school. Well, I went to a private school, so there was some of it that was taught, but it was like a private Christian school. And I did that for 12 years. So it was like the same programming over and over and over and over, repetition.
Believe it or not, but I did too.
Did you really?
Wild.
That's
Yes.
really fun.
I mean, I think that so many rebels have come out of Christian private school.
Yeah,
I,
totally. Because we saw that the trust was put into people and not necessarily God. God's source. The reason we love Jesus is because he became a man. So we have somebody that embodied just like us to make it fathomable for us to know how grand God is. Like God is such a huge entity. It's in everything. And it's like, how do we even understand that if we don't have something that can help ground us? So I love Jesus consciousness and I still subscribe to that. I would definitely say that I there's parts of my identity that I've held on to. I tried to do a full erasure of it, but it's like that was such an open void.
yeah,
And I think that that's very dangerous because then you can fall prey to dark forces. Like it's
Mhm.
literally a war all the time.
Interesting.
Yeah, like I'm actually very thankful of how we grew up because I think like the Midwest is so much more grounded. It's environmental. It's like here you have the water there, and then here it's like literally sinking. And then you have these hurricanes that's like life-threatening, and these folks are resilient, so they don't see it in the same way. And my nervous system immediately in between Hurricane Helene and Hurricane Milton, which were the biggest ones that just happened that completely wiped out cities. It's like I was like, I'm going back up north. And I spent like 4 weeks up there because I'm like, I can't even be around the
Yeah,
war zone. And I think that that groundedness in Michigan is like, it's so beautiful. Like that's something
yeah.
I never understood until,
I don't because I've never really left. So it's like
oh,
it's
really? I thought
cool
you were a
hearing it.
traveler.
I mean, I'm a traveler, but I never lived anywhere else. So I just kind of like, always came back. But I mean, that makes I see that. I see that as like so I had the opposite experience. I didn't learn anything from my Christian background. So I found yoga. I was like, wow, this is what they should have taught me that way. Because I whatever the way they were teaching me, it did not
Mm.
connect. Like
Yeah.
I don't have that relationship with Jesus or anything. But it's weird, but lately I understand. I finally understand what everyone feels. I feel that way. I felt that way from yoga. And
Mhm.
then I like kind of started to be like, I really, it's my partner. He's kind of like testing me. He's like, you're just the same. I'm like, no, it's not. It's different, you know? But then like I'm realizing, no, it's the same. It's they view Jesus the same way I view myself and my heart. Like they think it resides in them. Like I feel that way. I feel that with God inside me. You know, like it's such a similar feeling that and then now I'm like, whoa, I have this heart opening towards all these people that I didn't have before and towards
Wow.
Jesus too.
I mean, the truth is the truth is the truth. Jesus is the
Yeah.
truth. And I know that like it is triggering to hear it sometimes, but it's like
Yeah.
it is like literally a different language. I think there's many maps to one truth.
Yeah, I agree. And I think everyone's kind of talking about the same thing, just like, I see it as like a ball and we're all like shifting, like trying to describe this thing. I mean, everyone's got it. They're just like the verbiage or the language might be a little different or like, but I think we're all like kind of screaming about the same thing in like all
Mhm.
religion and like all spirituality.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's how much can you really love the other? Like
Yeah.
really, truly. It's hard. It's like in every type of spiritual prescription, it's always difficult.
Yeah. You think it's like your way.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But that I think that's like I don't know. I feel like there's a soft opening happening, and I'm hopeful of that actually. Like it's not just me. Hopefully, other people feel that way because I think my resistance towards Christianity was like their resistance towards other religions. You know, it's like it's endless. Like they're all doing that. So I
Yeah, wow, that's deep.
yeah yeah um yeah. I hope that there's a soft opening for everyone.
I think that that's what ultimately it is in this whatever new age. I don't know what you want to call it, but
Yeah. Right.
yeah, like this change that we've seen is going from here and the judgment from here and then
Yeah.
really coming into here and that all
Yeah.
of us are going to come into here.
I agree.
Yeah, and you're already there. So that's why folks gravitate toward you.
I mean, I don't know, maybe. It's same for you. I always felt that way about you, for sure.
Sometimes I think you're right about that I do operate from the lower chakras a lot. Like I'm really rooted. I like to make sure I feel safe. I do a lot of I work around my identity. I like to move my body and I like to eat food. I love the human experience. For Starseed was too I rebranded because it was too up here. It's
Oh,
ungrounded. Yeah, so a lot of what it meant was that like the makeup of the stars is actually within you. But
yeah.
then when you get into the ideology of it, it's talking about other DNA dimensions, this other sort of extraterrestrial realm coming to our
Yeah.
DNA and help us see the truth and assist us at this time when in all actuality if you look at that framework which is really based in service to others versus service to self so we become less self-oriented. I think that there's a little bit of critical analysis that needs to be done on that because what you're going to find is a bunch of people who believe that they're aliens now and we're not.
Yeah.
If you were an alien you wouldn't be in this like form with two eyes and hair and shit. You would have be an angelic entity. Like
Yeah.
you would just not be here. You'd be formless. And
Yeah,
so
I feel like there is a movement towards that.
you toward like
Like the
being an alien.
alien, being
Oh,
an
totally.
alien. Yeah.
Well, yeah, I mean, I used to glorify that too because I thought that I loved that concept
Yeah.
that our DNA was altered and that we can realize these missing pieces of history and just it all comes down to what we were just talking about, understanding the truth, the resonance of truth. because
Yeah.
there are things in our history that were altered that we saw
Yeah.
now with the shifting of the earth and the shifting of the timelines that
Yeah.
now different than what we thought growing up. And
Yeah.
so, but I think that if we're not like grounded in ourselves as sovereign beings and in the context of community, what can happen with service to others all the time is that you deplete yourself. So going back
Yeah.
to the original point of that there was no boundaries, you're giving so much and then it becomes this group think that if you're not wearing a lace bra or I used to wear these like really flamboyant sort of pants or whatever, and if you're not wearing that, then now you're not a part of this group. Or if you're not giving to the point of depletion or coming kind or compassionate, then you're not the part of this group. When in all reality, all of us is neurodivergent. I had many students with autism, actually a couple of students who didn't even, they had prosthetic legs. They didn't have body part, to like move in a specific way. And so then where are they? Typically they would have been outcasted.
Yeah.
If you're looking at this model, it's really two sides of the same galactic coin in a way. And so I really encourage us to look at what is a human centered way of leading the community. What is it like the human, what is going to
What does that
accommodate?
mean to you?
I think it means that teachers are ever so much more valuable and not in the respect of like, here's my chalkboard, this is what you're going to learn, but the embodiment of leadership, saying things and then doing them.
Yeah.
First and then maybe saying, so like the embodiment and then being able to provide that roadmap as one way. This is just one way, because I've
Yeah.
been in yoga cults where they're like, this is the only way. If you don't do grain-free, dairy-free, you're going to get fat. That's literally
Really?
what they would say. Yes. And I think that when you follow a prescriptive way, everybody is their own teacher.
Yeah.
Everybody is their own guru. You are the expert of your own life. And to trust the person that you're working with to know that. And if they don't believe that, to lead them back to that all the time. That's what a teacher is for. It's almost like a parent in a way, but
Yeah.
we're not having to discipline.
Yeah. Yeah, I love that. What
I think
what
that like teachers are going to be ever more valuable with the advent of AI. I think
Yeah.
AI is a great assistance to us, if we are aligned. But how are we going to be aligned if we're still, there is a lower chakras that is good where you can be rooted and super confident and stuff like that. But there's also an imbalance in the lower chakras where you can be, that can become control. You might want to control everything around you. And then you're going to use this now to profit and control. And it's like
Mm,
those two things I think are going to fall to the wayside because of the spiritual awakening that's happening.
yeah.
People coming back to their heart really is like that this is a tool for assistance in our light. And I question this often because like I don't know about the transhumanism thing of that we're going to become robots and then we're all
Yeah.
connected to this grid or whatever. But what are we now? I mean, think about it. It's like we didn't be able to do this when I'm in Florida and you're there. I would have had to fly there, sit with you, set it up, have lighting. Production would have been like 6 weeks. You know what I mean? This is instantaneous now. So
Yeah.
imagine what it's going to be when we don't
Right.
have phones and we have like the glasses, or I don't know what Meta's coming out with next, but like, the next technological advancement.
Right. I think there's a balance that has to be there because we're so used to giving our power away as I think as a convenience type society. And so it could be another tool to just give our power away, to AI, or it could be like an assistant, like you said. And
Yeah.
just like email is, like we're still writing the email. I think it's wild that we don't have to write anything. I think it's even more wild that writers that's their title as a writer is using AI. Book?
Girl, what? That is what.
Yeah. Yeah, it is wild. That's what we're at. Yeah.
But it can only be programmed to the level that we're programming it. So it's kind
I know.
of, we
Yeah.
have to upgrade as humanity, which I think we're doing. I have like,
Yeah.
I see the validation of that every day.
Yeah, I think like there's some editing I'm sure still involved as being a writer, but yeah, like the tools are totally different. Even as like I was a web dev in my past life, so like I still do it. I love it, but like even that, like no one really like hard codes anything anymore. It's like everything's already like scripted and written. You just kind of like pull and use the tools to like create a website now. Like it's if you were to ask me to create a website from scratch, I'd be like 20 grand. You know, like I'm not doing that and spending 6 months doing that or whatever. Like I'm gonna do it in a week and charge you and use all these tools and charge you like 3 grand. So
Oh,
right. Like it's I guess what I'm saying is there's a balance, I think. And like I do think that, like spending my time coding is not what I want to do anyways. It's a total brain suck and like gets you just really like anxious. So if I have a tool to do it, sweet. I can
wow.
spend my time doing like cooking,
Creating, yes, talk to
creating.
me.
Yeah,
When's your birthday?
August
Oh,
12th.
you're a Leo.
Leo.
Yeah, I feel that in you. That's
You
the hardest.
do?
Yeah, girl. My dad's a Leo.
Yeah.
Yes, like I love Leo. That's one of my
Yeah.
favorite signs.
I Dude, it's so weird. Like all the people, like half the teachers that came like to like that just like came to me are all Leo, like to teach and like that I work with, just the people I work with tend to be Leos. I'm like, Leo is a bad rap. Like
Oh,
Leos
really? What's
are
the bad rap?
amazing. I don't know. I always feel like there's like, oh, they're like this like like they want to be like seen and like, yeah, like I do like the spotlight, but I also don't. Like
Really?
I'm
Yeah, I definitely don't see that part.
okay, good. Like, but I feel like that's what people think of Leo at least. But to me, they've all been just like soft. Maybe there's a lot of Libra too. Libra people I love, like just like kind of like soft, like malleable, like flexible people. Like that's like I don't know. That's just it seems to be coming, or like that's what I view now. Leo is differently. I don't know. I guess what like traditional astrology views Leo as. I don't know if I see, but.
What is your moon sign?
Libra. So
Oh,
that's probably
Leo.
why.
Okay, yeah, I feel a lot of that too.
Yeah, yeah, I
That
think
is
that's what
the
I
soul.
show off a lot for sure. What
Yes.
are you?
I'm a Libra, but both my kids have Libra moons.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Oh,
Yeah, like you. And then I'm a Scorpio moon. I feel like
nice.
Scorpio gets the worst rap.
Yeah, that does. I agree. And I know no Scorpios besides maybe you now. Yeah.
Ah, yeah, for real. That piece of me is what drives the inner feeling and the passion toward my work. And then
Yeah,
my rising is Taurus. So
nice.
that's kind of the bougie side that
Yeah.
yeah, I love to like wear gold, I love like growing a lot of food and like growing things, plant
Yeah.
well, my house plants aren't doing so hot right now, but I also like to cook food. Like, I think it feels really good.
Yeah, yeah. I think your beauty, inner and out, is also like something that I've learned from just like how to embrace and embody like your inner beauty and show it off and like be like proud to be like a woman and stuff like that. Like I don't know, I admire that about you, I think, for sure.
Thank you. And
Mhm.
one thing that I've been working on being in our 40s, my body shifted quite a bit. I used to be able to eat pizza, whatever I wanted, and then
Yeah,
just burn it off doing yoga. I never had to worry about it. And I think like with a little bit of weight gain, it's like uncomfortable. I'm just like, I don't know, like I don't feel the same. My belly's a little more robust. I even like have a walking desk and stuff like that. And it's like, but I think a part of me also, my kids hug me longer. They
yeah,
like the softness. And I think like it's not always like this ideal that we have of like the perfect hourglass with just a big booty is just not realistic. We've
yeah,
got to embrace all forms of us energetically and then also how it's translating with my hormone shifting. It's literally like my hormone shifting. And
yeah.
so, I just like am a little bit more filled out in my face and stuff. And I was like really uncomfortable with it because it happened quick. Like when I hit 40, it was like, I'm like, how I didn't even change anything. But I think a lot of it is like just that shift because
Well, you did change because you're in Florida now.
yeah, it's a
And
little
I
bit more
don't
slow.
it's I think well also like are you teaching like you're more coaching than you are like teaching too, right?
Right.
Like
I'm
class.
not as active.
Yeah.
Mm.
Um,
But what that did though, because I was teaching all the classes in the studio, well, most of them,
uh-huh.
is that I'm not in execution mode all the time, so I can be a little bit more strategic.
Right.
And yeah, able to develop the programs and stuff like that that help support. So I think like now, if I tried to own a studio, it'd probably go pretty smoothly
Yeah.
because I know now.
You ever think about that?
I have, but I just don't know that I think I would have to do a lot of reprogramming around my nervous system. Just thinking about it is like that's a lot of stress.
It is. It is. And like I love showing up and it's like taught me about accountability, I guess, and like continuously showing up, but it's hard sometimes. It
Yeah.
definitely is to like keep coming in and like keep being the lead, and like, the uplifting the energy or like, like it's not always easy. It's a lot of work for like
Yeah.
little pay.
Right. No, I know. You gotta love it. You've got to
You
love
gotta
it
love
from the
it.
inside. Yeah. But you're doing it, and that's amazing.
Yeah, yeah, I'm enjoying it. I'm lucky I have like side things that I do too, and
Oh, do
I think
you?
that's important. Yeah,
Like the websites?
yeah, I do websites still
Yeah,
on the
because you're
side,
yeah.
graphic design stuff, and I'm just so like for me, I'm grateful that I had all that experience because now like I do have the freedom to I make a quarter of what I make but made before, but like I don't need it. So I honestly
Yeah, you're
don't. So
time rich.
yeah, my time is but I
Mhm.
do have that supplemental income now, like for websites. So it's kind of worked out for me, at least for now. And I mean, who knows what 10 years will be like. I'm sure I'll be doing something else.
I feel like that's a myth that was also in our programming, like when we were coming up, is that like you have to be an entrepreneur and like the 9 to 5 can't really serve you. I think for some people, 9 to 5 is actually like going to help you be able to achieve your dreams so that you're stable for when you
For
do want
sure.
to shift.
I
Yeah.
for
Well,
sure
like,
I see a lot of young people wanting instant gratification, like wanting an instant like following or like a coaching business. And it's like, man, I feel for you because I feel like that foundation comes with time. It comes with like
yeah.
experience being on this earth. And
Yes.
like if you're trying to be a coach and you're like 23, like I don't know. Like I just feel like
Uh,
that yeah, like that life experience working, like I was able to like buy a car, like a house, like it's so yeah, I guess like corporate, yeah, it has a bad rap, but like it's also like what feeds me or fed me for a long time. And I was able to pay for trainings. I was able to get like, yoga training's not cheap.
right. You
I
acquire
would,
skills.
right,
And that's huge. And that's the whole thing that I love about being in my 40s is that it's never too I talk to 60-year-olds all day where they're like, am I too old to do yoga? It's like it's never there is no timeline. The timeline is fake. It's made up. So it's like
right,
you can start at any age doing whatever. But yeah, to your point, the young people, it's like a million to us. Making six figures was like it. Like you got to make six figures. That was a lot of money back then. Now it's like that's what these kids make out of school, and they want that first million. I mean, I talk to young kids that are like, I'm gonna make a million doing being a blogger. It's like,
good
damn,
for them.
yeah, that's like, but then at the same time, it's like when they have it, are they going to be able to sustain it because they haven't been through the hardships of what it
Right,
is to actually contain that? You have to
right,
have the inner capacity and the inner wealth to keep the outer wealth stable because it goes up and down just like the markets do. And I feel
100%.
like the wisdom of our 40s, we still look good and we
Yeah.
still are young inside, but we have the wisdom and it's such a gift. Like I'm all about reverse aging. Like
Mm,
I think aging is a myth too.
mm, yeah,
Yeah, it's all made up. It's because we believe that we're biologically
yeah,
dying all the
100%.
time.
100%. Oh man, you're making me like blow my mind. But yeah,
Because you're a yogi, so you know what it does
I get
on a
it.
cellular level. On a cellular level, you are regenerating every time you do a breathing technique. You're increasing your inner capacity. It's not just some shit that you're doing and then it's done. It's like every time you do that, you're increasing. your deposits into the energy bank. Like I love pranayama. Pranayama is key to life.
Yeah, what if we change the belief to like I am ever present, like I don't age?
You're immortal
What
because
if I did it?
you're literally not, Lindsay. You literally are. You look like these millennial. I really thought that that's what how old you are.
Yeah, I mean, I do. I think it's because I don't have a lot of stress. Like I don't know. I just
That's great.
don't.
Oh my God. Yes. That's goals right there. That means that you definitely accomplished what the lifestyle is of a studio owner. Because I think that's ultimately why we do it is because we want the freedom well without the stress. The thing is like I do work in an environment that is very demanding, but I'm very present in every interaction and I get to be able to learn about people in every interaction. You have to love what you're doing. If it's
Yeah,
something that you fucking hate, like you can't even when you go to bed, you're like, oh, I have to wake up and do it. That's when it's like, okay, it's time to leave.
right,
You're like actually enjoying the act of it. There's ways like you've made it work for you. You don't hate the act of web developing. Like it's
right.
joy in that creativity and
Mhm.
you channeled it. And I think that's what it is. It's proper channeling, but you don't
Right.
get that unless you have experience.
Yes. Yes. I agree. And uh, like your mindset stuff, like that's total mindset. Like you choose the how you view what you're doing as, and there's I think there's positive in anything you're doing. You can find like this is feeding me right now. This is this is stable for me right now. Maybe I can't handle the ups and downs or like the unpredictability. And not everybody can, whatever their family dynamic is. Like if I had kids, you know, that I had to take care of, like I wouldn't be able to afford, you know, that stuff for them probably. So there's a lot, my life would look different. I'm sure of it, you
You
know.
and the kids, yeah.
I think so. I'm sure
Yeah,
of
it
it.
does shift.
It does shift. Like your priorities change. Like you become like almost like a servant, I think, to them in some ways.
It's like the servant in the best way,
The
though. Like,
best
there's this
way, yeah.
teacher called the mother. I think her name's like Amira. I can't remember like her full name, but she's from Slovenia,
Oh,
and she's the mother. And she talks about when you can make the mundane sacred, like just washing
right,
dishes, that
right,
you've achieved the real yoga.
right.
Love that because it's like a lot of motherhood is sort of
Is that? Yeah,
yeah, like you have to constantly keep reminding them to clean their room, reminding to do that. You're like become this like, "Meh." It's like
right.
I don't want to be that. Like I want to be the cool mom, but like on Mean Girls, I want
Oh,
to be the cool mom.
oh.
But sometimes you're not, and so, but I think it's all about like the presence.
I think it's the hardest job. The
Yeah,
hardest
yeah,
job for
it's
sure,
tough
right?
for
Because
sure.
you don't get that like gratific I mean, there's like gratification like with their love, but it's not always there. Like a lot of times they might hate you. Like,
Yeah, and also they're gonna leave eventually.
yeah.
They leave the nest. They're gonna be adults. And that's the hardest part about being a teenage mom, like to a teenager, is that my baby is a grown man. He's becoming a man. He's 6'1". He's
That's
taller than me. So it's like, it's like this infant that you held, and then all of a sudden it's like I thought that was my husband at the fridge and it's my son.
wow.
And I'm
That's
like, oh my
wild.
God, he's gonna be a young man. So
Oh,
yeah, and it's this act of like really hanging on, like because you just love it so much. And then also you have to let go, like because it doesn't sustain. Who he was when he was 2 is not who he is now. And to love them unconditional positive regard for them is like the heart, it's very difficult.
what a practice though.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like that is like to me like the constant like attachment, let go. Like that's a constant practice, I'm sure, for a parent.
Yeah. I think moving did that in the biggest way. I had a hard time moving. I love it there. And I had a huge community there.
Yeah.
I mean, my mom's still there and everything. So it's the trees. I love the trees. It's a protected land, you know. The trees cleanse the land over and over and over again.
Yo,
Yeah.
what made you move to Florida?
My dad's here and I was pulled to the elements here. It's a
Mm.
lot of energy. You've got the sea, you have like these ancient trees, there's caves, there's humidity, there's it's the lightning capital of the world. There's a lot of like spiritual mixing here. And
Ah,
yeah, like spirits spoke to me here. Like it's bizarre. And I believe that it's actually Atlantis. Like it's part of the broken Bermuda Triangle because the sand is like crystal. It's 99% crystal quartz. So on this side of Florida, it's very different than Miami and that side. There, people don't like know about. Well, I feel like now they do because it takes me an hour to get to the store because of the traffic. But I think like when I came here initially in 2020, there was no one here except for like older people. And then there was this like mass migration of MAGA people.
yeah.
I don't know if it was like Trump or whatever, but
No,
like
I'm sure because they were lenient, like the with COVID, I'm sure it changed things, I think.
oh, that's a great point, and that brought me here because I was able to work.
Oh,
I
really?
couldn't work. Yeah, like I had studios up there, and then I opened up some infrared day spas, like, and basically we had to shut down because of COVID.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, girl, I was bankrolling a bunch of studio. That's why any gym that's still alive, like, oh my God, please go to it. Like, long live the
Wow.
boutique. I'm all about the boutique. Like, I don't really love franchise so much. I learned how to run a business opening franchises, but boutique is where it's at because it's the soul
Yeah, I agree. And
that
like,
you have.
yeah, I agree. You need like that as a small being a small business, like you have that connection that I feel like a larger chain or like even like still privately owned, but like just like a larger studio space even like doesn't have as much, I think. I feel because I used to practice at some like bigger spaces and it's just you don't have that you don't really like have that connection to the teacher as much. Like I never really talk, at least for me, the teacher's usually like behind scenes before they come into class. Like you can't get around us because our space is so small. Like you're just literally standing right next to them. So it's like you can't help but have conversation like while you're waiting kind of and
I
yeah.
see what you mean. That's how my spaces were too.
Yeah, smaller
But I
probably.
love that. Yeah, I loved the porous, like when they walk in, you're just right there. I
Yeah,
don't like the behind the scenes thing, although that is an energetic boundary and
I
it
agree.
has to
I
be
see
able
why
to,
that happens. I agree.
yeah. Like you
And
kind of need that time before the class, but I never got it.
I don't get it either. And like, I can see that though. Like, sometimes I'm like, man, I do need like more boundaries with these people. Like, not these people, like, what, just like, I can't,
Community.
yeah, like, I think there is like a level of like, I don't have to be best friends with everybody, like, it's like, I'm friends with everybody, but like, also like, we come together and then it's okay that we, go home. And, um, there, it, I'll see you tomorrow. I'll see you in class.
Yes, there has to be role definition.
Yeah.
That a friend is different than a studio owner. That's different than a client. You know, the different
Yeah.
ways in which they're engaging with you. It's very different. It's very important to define that. And that's what I didn't do. So there's
Yeah.
one piece of advice I could give is that masculine structure of defining the role. Because when you define the role, the expectations are there. And another thing was, I know you called me a goddess, and I do love that. I see goddess energy in you too, but I am
Mm,
human. And I think what happened in this space of Starseed was that I was pedestaled because I did something first, but
mm,
I
mm,
wasn't necessarily on a higher level. A lot of these women are powerful women with 3 master's degrees and a bunch of kids, and I don't know how they're doing it. And they are true goddesses to me. But when you say the word goddess, it sort of puts you in a different echelon that isn't human anymore. And then the expectation is for you to perform inhuman
mm,
things, which is to be everything to everyone. And that was their home. When in all reality, it's a place of business, and I had to shut it down in order for me to keep sustaining my real home. Otherwise, I would have lost my home. Like we would have gone bankrupt. I got out of it without going bankrupt, which is like incredible.
wow.
Yeah, one of my biggest fails forward. So yeah, we got to do a part two, girl, because I got a jet.
Okay. Thank you so much for meeting.
Thank Let's
Yeah,
do a part two.
let's do a part two, but where can people, what are you, really quick, like, what's your website and like, what are you
My
offering
website
now?
is soulcodes.love. I work with people in teacher training, so 500-hour for somatic wealth, Kundalini based, and Primordial is involved with that. And then I have self-led courses on an app, and then also one-on-one coaching, but I'm not available until July.
Oh my gosh.
The time constraints right now, but I'm so abundant and I feel so happy and I love what I've created. So I'm really happy with my situation, you know. But yeah, that's so if you want to join, oh, I have a sadhana coming up. So I did create a container for people who do want to join that it's like, you know, not in their budget to do the 500-hour right now and they don't want to do one-on-one, or I actually don't have the availability for it. You can do the group sadhana, which starts tomorrow morning at 8:45. So
Awesome. Thank you
yeah.
so much. We
Thank you,
love you.
Lindsay. Have
Bye.
a great day. Namaste.
Namaste.